Have you ever felt that disconnect between your professional success and your personal fulfillment? That deep, gnawing feeling that you had to sacrifice one for the other. Welcome to the first episode of the Ambitious, Awakened, and Aligned podcast. Today, we're going to dive deep into this conversation and how there's an intersection happening between spirituality and business, and really how this new paradigm can unfold for you, and of course, others in your life and business. Well, around here, when we do new things, we actually like to pop the cork. So I got that done already, and we're pouring a little toast to new. Because there is another way, and together, through this podcast, through conversations with other leaders, through the conversations we have with each other, we're really going to dive deep into how we can align spirituality and business, how these two things actually are meant to be together deeply to enrich experiences with your people, your customers, and truly just make the difference in the world that you desire. So, let's dive deep into this conversation. First, let's explore how this intersection even possibly comes together. I've been in corporate for over 30 years. I transitioned into my own business about 18 years ago. And so I've been around lots of different businesses, and from entrepreneurs and founders right up to large corporations. And what I've seen is that traditional business models don't see that these two things can go together. And yet we're starting to see shifts. We're starting to see a little bit of a crack, and people really are looking for a paradigm shift. They really are looking for a way to foster more personal fulfillment and to continue to be ambitious and to climb the mountains and to have all the results and success that they desire. So it was 2006. I was raising a young family, and I was working as a leader, grinding it hard, feeling like actually really knowing that I had to sacrifice one thing for another. I was in a leadership role, and not only was I raising a young family, but I was blending a family. And I really started to feel this gnawing inside me that I actually didn't really understand. I felt guilty when I was at home. I felt guilty when I was at work. I just felt like I was carrying around this bag filled with guilt. And I don't know that I even really understood what it was or why I was carrying it around. But that gnawing inside of me, it started getting deeper and deeper, and I started to have these feelings like the other shoe was going to drop, but I didn't even know what exactly that feeling was about. It was just there. I was just hanging on to it. And I started to have health issues, and so this voice got louder and louder in my head, and I kept thinking, there's more. There has to be another way. I don't think I want to carry this guilt around. I don't know that I'm supposed to or should. And really, 2006, we weren't having the types of conversations that we're opening up to and cracking open right now. And so I was looking, I was seeking, and I started playing with some kind of weird concepts at work as a leader. I started doing book studies. I started asking people about their families. I started having opportunities for families to come. The kids could come into the office, and I even remember having like a little Fisher-Price thing that the kids could play with when they came in. And slowly, the results started shifting for the better. And that wasn't the intention when I started doing these things. The intention was about trying to answer this gnawing, and then all of a sudden realized that it created results. Not just results from a financial profitability perspective, results from a joy and happiness and team connection and other people in other offices asking, what's going on down there? There's something different going on down there. And so I just want you to think about for yourself, reflect on where you don't feel in alignment. Because if I look back at that experience, if I'd had a mentor that could have kind of held my hand and walked along with me, and I could have had these conversations with, I think they really could have helped me understand that that feeling of guilt was actually evidence of something. It was evidence that I needed to consider another way. And then it also was creating a landscape where we could try other things. And so really start to look at, where are you feeling that gnawing? Where are you feeling that guilt? And this is where the shift starts to happen, is when you can have that openness to exploring it. So just grab a piece of paper, or you know what I love now is like sending audio messages to self. Send an audio message to yourself, because just considering that is the first step and the first day towards something new for you. Now let's talk a little bit about what benefits might there be of integrating this sort of spirituality and business approach. I want to just say too, let's be careful of spirituality. I think there's this massive movement in the world of judging everything, from the words that are said to the experiences we have. And we're not going to dive into that today, but that's something we are going to dive into, is really understanding how much judgment can affect us, our lives, our leadership, our businesses. And so when I say the word spirituality, I want to just really say it's your inner self. It's your inner work. You may have other gods and other things that you believe in and that you use as part of that. That's amazing, and that's personal, and we all have those personal things. Today, when I say the word spirituality, I'm talking about that deep inner work. And so combining spirituality and business practices actually can lead to improved mental health, better decision-making, and truly sustainable success. Something that we don't have to carry that bag of guilt around, because I'm telling you, that thing, that's really, really heavy. So let's look at a leader who has embraced the intersection and actually shared it with the world. Arianna Huffington, the founder of Huffington Post, and then went on to create Thrive Global, which is such a powerful movement. I mean, she's someone that I have admired for a very long time, before she actually even started speaking out about some of the things that she was going through. So after she collapsed from exhaustion and shared that, well, she didn't share that until she did her healing and did her inner work, and then came back to us with some amazing lessons that we can all really pay attention to. But she really reevaluated her approach to success. So back to my original story, she was in the grind it out, carry the guilt bag, absolutely hustle, sacrifice self for success. And again, she learned that that didn't have to be a truth. So she founded Thrive Global to focus on well-being, wisdom, and wonder, promoting the integration of health and spirituality in professional life. What an incredible, she was one of the first, I would say, that really started cracking this door open so that you and I can sit here and have this conversation, because well-being and mindfulness lead to results. I found that over 2 decades ago, and still we're trying to find a way to really integrate it into business in a more powerful way. But she talks about that. That's what Thrive is about. That's her experience of the more that she leaned into helping herself and her inner work, the greater the results became in the end. It's like mind blowing. We just still, I don't know that our brains can see how powerful it is and how much it actually drives results. So big corporations are really starting to experience this. And yet, I think the big thing is like, where do we start? So many people are thinking, oh, yes, I know. We're maybe talking about it, but then where do you begin? So I want to give you one inspired action that you could start with today. And that is starting a daily mindfulness or meditation practice. Just commit to 10 minutes a day to set focused and intentional time in your day where you can get focused. And the morning is the very best time because it sets your tone for the entire day ahead. So I want to say when this was first introduced to me from my woo-woo and wonder mentor, I call her, she challenged me to do 10 minutes a day for 30 days. I wish right now I could go back and just give you a little snippet of that person in that moment, because I can remember the negative spiral in my head of, oh no, I can't do that. Oh no, I've tried. I can't focus. You know what? It's like, when am I going to be? I already go to the gym. I already read in the morning. I really don't have time to add in one more kind of thing to my day. And that was the experience I was going through. And then I paused and I trust her, and I knew that I was still seeking and I'm still curious. And so I need to continue to lean in to what these other ways can be. And so I knew myself enough to know I needed a partner in crime, kind of like Good Girls from Netflix. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not that kind of partner in crime, although really funny show. But I did call a friend and I said, listen, and I upped it to 40 days. I said, would you be willing to, with me for the next 40 days, every single day, do a meditation? And we picked the same meditation because this was what our woo-woo and wonder mentor shared with me, is that if we did the same one every day, our brain would actually start to adapt. And I would notice within a week or so that it settled quickly. I settled quickly. My thoughts settled differently. And sure enough, by the first week, we were up to, I think, 30 minutes. And then by the time we ended our 40-day challenge, we were up to over an hour of meditation. I felt so deeply integrated. And having someone to do it with really was that accountability piece. And also, I think just someone to talk about it with, about the experience, about what I was going through. And funny enough, my husband had already integrated mindfulness meditation into his practices probably about 5 years ahead of me. And he had continued to encourage me. And I saw the changes in him. So it was such a beautiful experience of, when you're ready, the right thought process comes. So maybe today is the day that you're ready to call a friend and just go. It's really just about making a decision, making a choice, and doing it. So I encourage you to try this 30, or what we turned into a 40-day with a friend. Start with 10 minutes a day and just continue to grow from there. We used Dr. Joe Dispenza at the time. I think he's an incredible resource as far as growth, as far as really helping you to learn the critical aspects of really what is happening. So the science behind. So he is a great place to start. Now I want to talk about building a purpose-driven business. Now, I remember hearing this concept literally back when I started business over 30 years ago. And yet I've come to really understand it and the impact that it has. When you have a purpose-driven business, employees are more engaged, you drive customer loyalty, and truly you experience more fulfillment and see everybody around you having more fulfillment in what they're doing. And so I want to share the journey of a well-known company that transitioned, or they didn't really even transition. They have always been, from the moment they started, a purpose-driven company. But they amplified it. That's a better word. They amplified that with what they did and what they showed the world and how they have shown their commitment to that purpose-driven model. And so the company I want to talk about the founder of Patagonia, Yvon Chouinard. And Yvon built Patagonia with a mission-driven approach. He was focused on environmental sustainability and ethical business practices. Yvon truly had a desire to save our planet. And if you haven't, I highly recommend the documentary or documentaries around Patagonia. They are so inspiring to watch where the mission came from and then to see how it's unfolded. So Yvon, his wife, and his 2 adult children transferred their ownership valued at $3 billion, the whole company. They said, we don't need it. The difference we want to make in the world hasn't changed since the moment we started this company, and that is to fight climate change. And so they literally are living their purpose-driven mission. If you don't know them, they're an outdoor clothing retailer, company that my son, who is extremely outdoorsy, shout out to Joshua, absolutely loves. And so he's the one that took me on this journey of watching the documentaries and really getting to know about Patagonia, the company, not the product. And when you know the company, it's pretty inspiring to want to follow them and learn more. And then beyond that, so here's our action. Define and revisit your mission statement, not just your company, but your personal mission statement. Because whatever our personal mission statement is, if you're an entrepreneur, that can be fully aligned to your business. And if you're a leader in a corporation, I just today had a conversation with one of the top leaders I work with, and we were talking about her personal mission statement and how she can leverage that to truly build this engaged culture and build the purpose-driven organization. Even though the company has its own mission, her mission in alignment with that and being able to unfold the way that she leads around that is just so powerful. So I want you to pause and take a moment and really think about your business's mission statement, your personal mission statement, and think about, does it reflect who you want to be? Does it reflect who you want to be as a person? Does it reflect who you want to be as a leader? Does it reflect the approach that you want your business to have and take in this world? Yvon is proof of the massive difference that anyone can make with inspired vision. So let's learn a little from him and take it away. Now let's talk about creating a culture of connection and alignment. What does that even mean? We talk a lot about organizational culture. We talk a lot about connection. This word alignment's been thrown around a lot in the last couple of years. But what does it actually mean? Workplace culture is about the values that you create within your organization. And it starts with your own values. It absolutely, how do you lead? How do you create a more cohesive team? How do you have people collaborate effectively? It's all around the actual purposeful culture that you build. And when we bring our whole selves, our real selves, our authentic selves, and everything we've already talked to, when we bring our rituals and practices to become the best leader we can become, then when we go into our workplace cultures, we just amplify the energy, the frequency, the power within that organization. And then it influences the people around us. It inspires the people around us. It changes the people around us. It creates a work environment that keeps people wanting to be there, gets people to share how much they love the work that they do, but also attracts top talent. And in today's work environment, that is a critical piece. So I don't know if you've maybe heard the story, but I think it's so profound. And it's not new, but I actually just last week listened to it again. So I wanted to share it, of Mark Benioff, who's the CEO of Salesforce. And Mark is known for integrating his personal values when he started Salesforce. And what's really cool is he knew the corporate culture he wanted to create. And he definitely champions being a philanthropist, being socially responsible. And so when they started the company, they said 1-1-1. 1% of equity, 1% of profit, and 1% of time was something that they were going to dedicate to improve the communities around them, so that they would integrate social responsibility into their corporate culture. This is an incredible example of how we can look at the alignment of spirituality and how it actually can build that deep, rich connection internally, and look at the ripple effect of that with an organization like Salesforce. I can't even imagine the amount of money that they have invested and time in changing the communities that they are involved in. So what can you do with that? Look at your team. Do you take the time to have regular team building activities that are really focused on people's personal growth and mutual support? Do you encourage open discussions about people's values, about their purpose? So how can you take this philosophy and really create that connection and alignment within your own organization? And it starts with you. It starts with the leader. So take that away. What are some practical steps? So we talked about some inspired action that you can take. And really the big thing is taking small but consistent action that leads to significant shifts over time. If you built into your practice to look daily at how you can integrate your already spiritual beliefs or start to integrate more spiritual practices, I really like to call them sacred rituals for yourself. If you can integrate those into your life, then you can look at ways where you can align them in your business and really watch how it awakens the people within your companies and within your own business. It brings people to life. It's so easy to focus on the hustle and grind. It's such an easy trap to fall into. It's actually, in many ways, more comfortable because it's more familiar. It's kind of what we've always been taught. And so because it feels so uncommon, the one thing we need to do is pause and breathe and really take time to be purposeful and proactive. And that's a choice. Be purposeful and proactive with your own habits, with your own intentions. Don't let every day just go by with another to-do list. Create an intentional list of your own personal habits, of your own spiritual or sacred practices, and then look for ways to amplify your business around those. So from everything we have had a conversation about today, choose one thing. Because if every day we did something 1% different, or we chose one different action, imagine at the end of this year how much things would have changed and shifted and grown and been inspired and ignited and electrified. It's amazing. We don't have to do huge things all at once. We don't have to make massive change. It's just one tiny decision, and you choose. And that is what the integration of business and spirituality look like. You absolutely can. You absolutely can have extremely powerful success and inner peace and fulfillment. That's what the journey is all about. So that's your action, is to look for one thing that you can implement. And I want to invite you to share your stories or questions with us. Just leave them below in the comments, and we absolutely would love to just keep this conversation going together. And as we wrap up today's episode, I want you to remember the journey to align spirituality and business, it's ongoing, and it's deeply personal. It's deeply personal. And it's about you finding harmony between who you are and what you want to do. So I want to thank you for joining me on this inaugural episode of the Ambitious Awakened and Aligned podcast. Cheers. I'm excited to walk this path with you, exploring the rich intersection of our ambitious selves along with our spiritual awakenings. Now, I do want to tell you quickly before you go, we have an incredible leadership and lifestyle festival. I almost said conference, but we're changing things. Leadership and Lifestyle Festival coming up in October. It's called the Wake the F Up Festival. It is in Niagara-on-the-Lake. It is going to be an example of everything we talked about today. We're going to talk strategy. We're going to talk spirituality. We are going to integrate wellness into our businesses. It is going to be the most amazing women leaders, and surrounding yourself and creating a new inner circle for your expansion and for you to unfold and grow in all the ways that you desire. So please check out lauriehawkins.co and go under events, and you can find out more details about this incredible festival. And cheers. I can't wait to see you there.